From Tampa Bay's #1 news station, this is the Fox 13 News at Noon.
Now at noon, COVID rates are on the rise and talk of mask mandates are returning. Today, what Governor DeSantis has to say about masks in Florida. Suing the state, another Florida state attorney fighting the governor to get her job back. And it's proved to be a lifesaver in the opioid fight. Now it'll be easier for anyone to find. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Linda Hurtado. Thanks for joining us. Coronavirus is back on everyone's mind as cases nationwide begin to climb. President Biden announced plans to request funding for a new COVID vaccine. And yesterday he joked about masking after the First Lady tested positive for the virus. Coronavirus also became the topic of a news conference Governor DeSantis just wrapped up this morning. And Fox 13's Ariel Placencia listened in and joins us in studio to tell us what he had to say. Ariel.
Well, Linda, we're seeing some states sent in a week, and deaths are up over 17%. But of course, Linda, I should add that those numbers still far below the levels that we were seeing during the pandemic.
All right, Ariel, thank you. Well, the former state attorney for Orange and Osceola counties is now suing the governor over her suspension. The governor removed Monique Worrell last month, saying she was neglecting her duty to prosecute crime. Sound familiar? A similar case played out in Hillsborough County when former state attorney Andrew Warren lost his job for similar reasons. That sparked a lawsuit, too. Fox 13's Kelly Cowan joins us now with more. Police in Central Florida are looking for the people who defaced 2 headstones at an Apopka cemetery. The headstones remembered 2 brothers. One was damaged, the other stolen. And as Fox's Connor Hansen shows us, the vandals posted their crimes online. Well, a big help at the pharmacy today. Narcan, the drug known to reverse an overdose, is now available on the shelves at most Florida pharmacies, and you don't need a prescription. Overdose. According to Narcan's website, the over-the-counter nasal spray currently is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Target. Publix says Narcan will be available at all of its pharmacies toward the end of the week. Well, today the search continues in Central Florida for an injured alligator recently spotted on camera. It's missing most of its upper jaw. As Fox's Chris Lindsay explains, there are concerns the gator might not survive if it isn't found soon. Bay Area fisherman, busy as a bee these days, trying to protect our shorelines. He's harvesting a product. Like most people who work on the water, this fisherman is concerned about the health of Tampa Bay. But he's taken a different approach to helping our shoreline. He's harvesting honey out of the mangroves. As Mark Wilson shows us, it's a novel idea to help nourish our shorelines. And that was our Mark Wilson reporting. And you can pick up Josh's honey at a number of stores around Tampa Bay. Just go to queenandcolony.com and click on the locations tab. Thanks, Jim. Well, going back to class can be an exciting time, but it can also be stressful and leave our kids anxious. The signs parents need to watch for when their kids are dealing with mental health issues and how to help them. An expert offers some suggestions next. Health says students with severe cases of depression and anxiety also tend to have lower grades. And joining us to talk about these important issues is Allison Walsh, mental health advocate and vice president of clinical outreach at Charlie Health, which provides treatment for teens and young adults dealing with a variety of mental health issues. Well, so thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.
So what is so transitional and maybe upsetting is the right word for some kids about going from summer break to back to school?
There's so many pressures, right? You know, all of a sudden you're back in school, there's a lot more structure. There might be nerves related to academics, peer pressure, new social groups,
to sit next to,
all of
that,
right? So I'm
yeah.
a mom of 3, and I've definitely experienced that with my kids going back to school this year, and just the transition has been a little bit more challenging.
So what can we as parents do to help our kids?
It's so critically important that we have the conversations, that we are actively involved on a day-to-day basis and noticing any changes. You know, if there's some slight changes and disruptions that tend to go away, that's normal. But if we start to really see things linger or be more present and prevalent, then we really need to take action.
And what are some of those things? I imagine like probably coming home and just shutting the door and staying in your room would be one of them, right?
Right, or any disruption to sleep. If you notice a lot of stomach aches, maybe headaches, withdrawal from social activities, those are things that we really want to take notice of and make sure that we're addressing appropriately.
Have you noticed even more changes since the pandemic? I think that really changed a lot of us, especially our young people, pretty significantly.
There has definitely been an increase in anxiety and depression, and that's why we have to be super proactive about it. And we want to make sure that our kids feel like they can have the conversations too, so making sure that you're creating an environment in which they feel like they can talk to you about it, and then you can go ahead and take the necessary steps. But even simple things as helping them learn how to cope with the stress so that it doesn't become a more severe anxiety challenge that they're facing.
When do you know that your child may need more professional help?
If you've seen symptoms and signs become worse over time, if they're not getting better even, if you notice that your child isn't sleeping well consecutively throughout the week, you need to call your doctor, you need to get an assessment done. That's why I love the work that we do at Charlie Health, is that we're able to do a full biopsychosocial with the child and really understand what they're going through and then make the recommendations accordingly. But the most important thing is to act on it. I think when I struggled with my own struggles when I was in high school, and one of the things that I wish we would have done earlier was seek professional help, get the actual assessments done, make sure that you're connected with the professionals that are the appropriate levels of care that you need at that time in your life, and be able to go from there.
And I know that you just mentioned it, you're walking the walk because you've been through it. So
exactly.
Take us a little bit on your journey and tell us about the book I know you brought with you that comes out in a week. Congratulations.
I know, I'm so excited. Thank you. So, the book really does start with me learning how to tell my story. When I was 18 years old, I had just gotten through my own struggle. I was diagnosed with anorexia, bulimia, and anxiety and depression while I was in high school. And I had to really learn what I needed to do to take care of myself so I could go on and live a life that is full of being able to help other people. But yeah, so the book comes out next week, and it's really about my dedication, my service, how I found my calling so early in life and have been able to help so many other people do the same thing. And so I share that story, I share the journey that goes
Allison,
along
we have
with
to
it.
go, but quickly tell us the title of your book and where people can find it.
So She Believed She Could. You can go to shebelievebook.com, or any of the major retailers are carrying it too.
Thank you for all your good work.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Video you have to see to believe. We now know how a convicted murderer managed to escape from a Pennsylvania prison. The latest on efforts to get him back behind bars is next.
You're watching the Fox 13 News at Noon.
Labor Day may be the unofficial end of summer, but around here and places across the country, there seems to be no end to the relentless heat wave. Even New England is sweltering. Fox's Kaylee Schuyler joins us live from outside Boston, where people are trying to find a little bit of relief. Kaylee, how's it feeling right now?
Massachusetts, Kaylee Schuyler, Fox 13 News.
All right, Kaylee, we feel you. Thanks so much. Well, Pennsylvania authorities laying out the timeline of convicted murderer's jailbreak, including some new footage that shows the fugitive making his escape last week from a prison in the Philadelphia suburbs. This as law enforcement continues their search for him. Fox News correspondent Nate Foy has more from Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania. Would you trust a robot to fly your plane? Researchers in South Korea are pushing the boundaries of artificial intelligence technology, using art and creativity to heal. Coming up, a new program for veterans, helping them put their feelings into song. Plus, a world-famous artist bringing her work to South Tampa. Charlie Belcher introduces us to Jill Slaymaker next. But first, a live look outside. Meteorologist Jim Weber will have another check on your forecast when we come back. Jim. In entertainment news, Bruce Springsteen is taking an unexpected break from his tour. He announced on his boss probably knows this, but songwriting can be an outlet and a healing form of expression. And an organization is offering just that for veterans and families across the country. As Fox's Ashley Dvorkin reports, Songwriting with Soldiers has given more than 2,000 combat vets the chance to create their own songs. Well, the traditional second anniversary gift is cotton, but no gifts are required this weekend in St. Pete as the Museum of the American Arts and Crafts Movement celebrates its second year. We'll tell you how art lovers will get the gifts this weekend next. One of the Bay Area's newest museums is marking its birthday this weekend, but it's the result of us who'll be getting a gift, right? We'll be getting the gift. The Museum of the American Arts and Crafts Movement is celebrating its second anniversary, and the celebration kicks off tonight and continues through the weekend. And joining us to talk about this big occasion is Andrea Morgan. Thank you so much. She is the Director of Operations at the museum. So let's start with how have the first 2 years been?
Well, our first 2 years have been great. We've been so excited to welcome all the community of the St. Pete, Tampa Bay area. We've had lots of programs, and as we head into year 3, we really just wanted wanted to celebrate the first 2 years, and part of that is sort of giving back with this discounted admission that we're offering today, tomorrow, and Saturday.
Well, that is nice. And so St. Pete, you know, famous really for its great museums. We have the Dali, the Museum of Fine Arts, the James Museum of Western Art. So what is it about your museum that makes it stand out?
So our museum, I think, is very exciting. You know, it's the brainchild of philanthropist and collector Rudy Ciccarello. He began collecting all of this art and then decided, you know, what should I do with this collection? It amassed over 2,000 works of art, and he decided to put that passion into building this museum. And so the museum houses this collection that is American arts and crafts movement. So we date that from about 1890 through about 1930, and this is all distinctly American works of art. This is handmade, and this is decorative art. So these are things like furniture, pottery, works in glass, all things that people would have used, things that people would have had in their homes or in their businesses. So for me, working at an art museum like this is really extraordinary because as I talk to people throughout the galleries, they really connect to the pieces on a pretty deep level because it's things that they have very real experiences with.
So it's not even just the art inside the museum. The building itself, I'm told, is like is a piece of art. Explain that.
So in the conception of the building, the architect Alberto Alfonso and Rudy Ciccarello worked very closely to create this masterwork. They wanted the building to speak volumes as well. So the building is gorgeous from the outside, but it's also built in such a way where the artwork is highlighted to make everything sort of in the best possible place. And there's a lot of arts and crafts tenets and characteristics that are throughout the building, and our use of materials and our use of light. And in fact, Albert is going to be at the museum this Saturday giving a little talk, a little conversation about what makes the architecture so special, and talking more about sort of the inspirations and the characteristics of our building.
So tell us about some of the other things going on for the second anniversary. I know you said the speaking, the architect, and the discounted prices.
We also have one of the things at our museum that is really popular are our leaded glass classes. So we've been offering these for about a year, and so we have this glass demo where you can come in. It's set up in our lobby all day today and tomorrow, and you can make your own little glass ornament that you can take away with you as well.
That's great.
We also have tours every day at 11 a.m. And on Saturday we have one at 11 and one at 1 o'clock. So these are free to the public. You just pay your admission, you come in, and our very knowledgeable docents will sort of guide you through the museum.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Once again, the second anniversary celebration at the Museum of the American Arts and Craft Movement with that discounted $10 admission is today through Saturday from 10 until 4. The museum, if you don't know, is located at 355 4th Street North in St. Pete. Well, it was not the kind of donation they expected. Thrift store workers in Arizona got quite the fright this week when an unknown person dropped off a gruesome item. That story is coming up next.